I want to welcome everybody, and we have a very special opportunity tonight to have John Hennessey here. John, obviously, I'm sure you all are aware of John and all the different, you see his name on the sides of Ford Raptors and Mustangs and cars, and we've seen him for years. And it's such a special opportunity to have him here and have those amazing vehicles out there, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But John, thank you for coming out, and it's such a pleasure. And thank you. And thank you everybody for coming out tonight. We always love doing these, and they're nice and intimate and fun, and I'm really enjoying them. And it's a nice casual way to kind of connect with everyone. So as I said, we really got a special opportunity tonight to have John here. John is the founder and CEO of Hennessey Performance, and Hennessey's been around for 30 plus years now, which is just incredible. So obviously I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about Hennessey and the business, but let's take a few steps back. How did this all come to fruition? How did you become a car guy? And I know you were tuning cars and doing some hill climbs and racing, right? So give us a little.
It goes probably all the way back to my mom's pregnant and my dad was a maniac driving a 64 Pontiac GTO with 4-speed around, and I'm told that when I was little I'd sit on his lap and I would shift the gears. And then there's one story, when I was 2 I had twin sisters that were babies. My mom puts me in the car, the VW Bug, parked on a hill, and the car's in gear, the e-brake's on, and she goes back in to get my other sister. She comes out, the car's gone. And there's this like busy street, and there's a church parking lot across the street. She looks way across the parking lot, sees the car over there, comes running, and I'm like, the car goes boom, Mom, the car goes boom. And I guess somehow I managed to get the e-brake off and pop it into neutral. So that was when I was 2. So you can imagine what happened ever since then. But no, as far as the business goes, just always had a thing and a passion for cars. My first car was a 1969 Olds 442 convertible, and the moment I got it, I popped the hood and I took the air lid on the air box and I flipped it upside down so a little more air goes into the quadrajet carburetor, the quadradog as we used to call it. And so through my teens and into my 20s, just kind of was always entrepreneurial and make some money, kind of put it in my car. And had a small construction business where we did environmental cleanup work back in the 80s, and decided to, like back then my dream car was the Porsche 959, and I thought, well, what can I get that I could modify and make my own poor man's version of the 959? So I bought a Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. I was reading car magazines about these guys from HKS. They're modifying Japanese cars, so I thought, I'll modify my own car. Anyway, and so, make a long story short, I decided I wanted to race at Pikes Peak, and raced at Pikes Peak, didn't win anything, but did crash. And it was all dirt back then. I raced at Bonneville, set a class record. So this is 1991. And then I did these 2 crazy races in Nevada. They still have it, called the Silver State Classic. They have a race in May and a race in September. My first race, I did 90 miles in 34 minutes, so my average speed was 164 miles an hour. My next race was a little bit faster, it was 33 minutes, average 167, won first place, and I was having a blast.
And how old were you?
I was 28,
Okay.
27, 28. Was engaged, wasn't married yet. But that year, I did all these races, I'm modifying my car, I'm having fun. I'm not doing my asbestos abatement business as much. And having fun with my wife, and then we get married, and we bought a house, we bought furniture. And I learned quickly the first rule of car racing. And that is, if you want to make a small fortune in car racing, start with a larger fortune. As I'm watching my bank balance like going like this, it was 2 weeks after the honeymoon, and I said to my wife, I said, I really like this car thing, I like the racing stuff, I like the people, I like tinkering with the cars. And I just wonder if like guys before me like Carroll Shelby and Alois Roof, Reeves Callaway, seem to build some cool cars and make a living out of them. Maybe somebody would pay me to modify their Dodge Stealth or their Mitsubishi 3000 GT. So I was entrepreneurial and started a business. 31 years later, here we are.
Here we are, right?
Yeah, about 15,000 cars later, modified trucks and cars. So, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So did you initially start with modifying? Just individuals would come to you with their cars. You do aftermarket parts, and at some point you actually hooked up with a manufacturer, right? And was that Ford? Was your first?
We've worked with a few different manufacturers. Nothing like officially we've done projects for them.
Right.
But I've always liked, I call it being equal opportunity. If it's a car we like, I like, we can modify it, and there's market demand for it, and we can do it where it's reliable and passes smog. And we have a supply chain where we can scale it. That's kind of been our model all the years long. But early on, I didn't have the money to go buy cars to modify, so I had to, like, whatever would roll in the door. I had a phone call from a guy one day, we're kind of modifying mostly JDM Japanese cars. A guy had a 92 Viper on order, but he didn't get it till like March of '93. And he said, hey, I read about you at the Silver State. I want to run the Silver State. Can you help me set my car up with the safety equipment? I'm sure. Got the car in, and I thought, I bet we can get some more horsepower out of this thing, because the exhaust system was really restrictive. They used to sound like, people would say that the old Vipers sound like a UPS truck or vacuum cleaner. So I'm like, all right, we can put, I said, I'll make you a deal. Let me do a few modifications to your car. I won't even charge you for it. And after you do the race, I'd like your permission to bring the car to Southern California. And I knew some of the guys at Motor Trend and Carcraft and Car and Driver. So this is back before the internet, back before social media. So it's car magazines, right? So a friend of mine introduced me to some of those guys, and so we brought it down there. Actually, the guy got fourth place in the race. He averaged 164 miles an hour for the 90 miles in an open top car, which is pretty crazy. And so we brought it down to Southern California and paraded around in some of the different media. And I just wondered, I thought, I read somewhere that Jay Leno got one. I wonder if Jay might ever call us up. And sure enough, Car and Driver came out like, this is like 93 or 94. And hey, it's Jay Leno, and I want to, get a Josh's my paper. And so we flew out to Jay's place in Burbank back when it was like, 1/10 of what it is now.
Right.
And did an exhaust system and a gear change. And so that just so the Viper kind of came along, and we started modifying a lot of Vipers, and that got a lot of publicity, and that kind of grew the business. So that was again back in the 90s. But then every 3 to 5 years there's kind of a different car. So we'd probably be open to pivoting, and somewhere along the line, somebody called me up in 2008 or 9 with a Ford Raptor and said, "Can you modify my Raptor?" I'm like, "How do you want to modify a truck?" So I'm like, bring it in. Nothing existed. There was no blower, no nothing for it. So we built our own twin turbo system for it. Put a video on YouTube, and like 2 weeks later, the producers that were doing the new American Top Gears with Tanner Faust and Adam and Rutledge Wood, they were the presenters. So they wanted to race a skydiver versus Tanner racing across the desert. And when that show aired on History Channel, I think in 2009, we got like 100 emails like the first hour. I think since then we've modified on the Raptor alone probably 6,000 Raptors in the last 12 years. Probably 4,000 Raptors in the last 5 years. And the 8-figure project that you see down there, that was mostly paid for by modifying Raptors. I told Jim Farley that when I saw him at Pebble Beach last week. So, Jim, thanks for building the Raptor. Helped build the Venom F5. So anyway.
Now, did Ford ever call you and say, "Hey, we have some Raptors. Before we sell them to customers, we're gonna modify these and sell them as a
So we have a number of dealers that we do that with throughout the country. It was easier to do before the supply chain thing got tight with COVID, but we still have a number of dealers that we sell modified vehicles through, as well as the new T-Rex. We have a 1,000 horsepower version of the T-Rex for the Mammoth 1000. So again, I think a lot of our clients, they come to us because they can modify their own vehicle, they can modify it by somebody else, but they want a turnkey solution, they want reliability, they want resale value, they like our brand names, they pull in the gas station, the golf course, like, man, you've got a Mammoth 1000. Right. I was talking to somebody earlier, I was talking to McKinnis, and they were in Austin, they saw our Mammoth 900, it was black, driving around Austin, like, that's Joe Rogan. We built Joe, actually built him a Raptor, and then we built him 2 different Mammoths.
So you're like the radar detector company that sells the radar to the cops, and then the radar detector to detect them, and then they keep upgrading.
I'm an arms dealer.
So you're doing that.
Arms dealer.
You do that with cars, right?
I give these guys this kind of weapon over here, and like, hey, you guys did
the Ford's now faster than the Dodge, so you need to up, right?
You know me well.
Right, I know how this works. That's effective. That's a smart business plan. So you also, like, aside from Hennessey, the specialty vehicles, you've also got a tuner school?
Yeah, so great story, and this is something we're really proud about. We don't we don't advertise it that much. It just organically attracts students. But back in the 2000s, mid 2000s, we'd be on the cover of a Motor Trend or Road Track or something like that, and I would get emails from young people saying, mostly guys, but some ladies, saying, "Hey, where can I go learn how to modify cars?" I'm like, "Well, you got McPherson College in Kansas. We'll teach you how to restore a car. You can go to UTI. They'll teach you how to fix a car. There's Wyotech in Wyoming." And they'd circle back and they'd say, "No, I don't want to learn how to fix a car, restore a car. I want to learn how to modify a car." And as our business was growing, I thought, all the stuff, all the mistakes I've made and all the hard knocks, I'm like, what if we could develop like an apprentice program? So we started a school to teach people how to modify cars. We've now had, in the last 12 years, about 600 students come through the program for, probably over 30 different countries around the world, all the different continents. And men and women, fathers, sons, retired bankers, a lot of veterans. And so, kind of unknowingly, we have almost 90 employees, and more than 2/3 of our technical staff have come out of tuner school. Half the guys that built these two cars that came out of that program. Two of my key guys in that program are former instructors at tuner school. So when we look at our income statement and we look at our financials, tuner school is kind of a very, very small part of our business from a financial standpoint, but from a team building and a scalability and just like doing a good thing, having young people and veterans say like, I came back from Afghanistan and really been struggling, and I've been passionate about cars, and this gave me kind of something new to look forward to. It's really been a cool thing. So tuner school is kind of one of our hidden gems that we don't talk about a whole lot. It's a little bit like Fight Club, but the people that know about it know it's really special. So
yeah, that's neat to kind of connect people and keep young people involved.
That's exactly right. And when I come in the class, I meet the students at the beginning of the week. So it's a 14-week long semester. They come to our campus from all over the country, and they rent an apartment. And the first week of class, I'll come in and meet them. And like when I see these, mostly guys, but some ladies. There's a lady from the last class. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking at myself from 30-something years ago, where I'm like full of passion and full of piss and vinegar, and ready to go race. I'm gonna modify my car, but I really didn't know what I was doing. I knew enough to be dangerous, and so we want to be able to give them, kind of accelerate the process in terms of, we do the bare minimum classroom time. So the state regulates the program, so we have to do a certain amount of classroom time. But I want them out in the shop. I want them wrenched on stuff. I want them busting off a bolt, so they have to learn how to heel it and get it out. And but it's really cool to see kind of their journey, and they get to self-discover what are their gifts, what are their talents. We might get a guy that comes in and thinks he wants to be a mechanic, but he's got the gift of gab, and maybe you're not that great of a technician, but you could be awesome at sales or customer service. And so it's neat to see that. And it's like these young people, or mostly young people. It's not bad people in their 60s coming to the program, but it's just kind of like looking at an extension of our family here.